Greetings and welcome to part 8 of the Clarinet series using essential elements. We're going to be looking at the red belts for band karate. This is going to focus on numbers 119 to 150 in your essential elements book starting on page 24. So buckle up, clarinets, because this is probably one of the hardest parts about clarinet. Maybe I shouldn't say that because then it'll seem harder than it is. But everyone else is kind of easy on these pages, but you get to learn brand new notes, like a lot of notes. So we're going to talk about high notes today. Okay. Basically, what we're going to be doing is, you know how your thumb goes here, and then you use Squidward's nose for the B flat? Well, now you're going to be pushing this and this down together. You want to be able to rock your thumb up so that you can get that and the thumb key at the same time. It's also going to require you to bite down a little harder on your mouthpiece, blow more air to get these high notes. I think the best way to start you off on the high notes is to just play some high notes. For instance, if you take your C and then you blow a little harder and then you add that thumb key, that's the note you get. And then you can just kind of fiddle around with some of the other notes you know. Just being able to play the note is huge. The hardest part, I find, is just getting that thumb to be covering the hole and Squidward's nose. This is called the octave key, by the way. The octave key at the same time. Okay. In the top of page 24, it says the special clarinet technique, the register key. Octave key, register key, Squidward's nose, it's all the same. And it gives you a list of the new notes that you're going to be learning in this section. So let's start right with 119 in your book. So the new note is note E, or high E. Notice that it's on the fourth space, F-A-C-E. Notice that the fingering is the same as your low A, but you add the octave key. So for this exercise, the only thing you're doing is staying on this fingering, but you're going to be jumping up, you're going to be adding that octave key to jump up. So here's 119. Actually, we're going to do all of these. 120, jumping up and down, is the same thing, using that A to the E jump, but you're adding some more notes in there with B natural in this one. One is note high D. It's your G plus the octave key. Here's 121. Number 122 is jumping for joy. Notice your key signature is an F sharp. You're not going to have any F sharps in here, but it means your B's are middle finger natural. Is using your F natural, just an F. That's your B flat going up to F. Now, if you get confused about your high notes, here's one way you can figure it. Think of your A as one, A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so E-A goes up to high E. Starting on D, for high D, you start on the low G, right? G, A, B, C, D. 5. See, there's a rule of 5 there. For F, you start on B, B flat, C, D, E, 5. So that's another way you can figure out what these notes are. So 123, your high F natural. Here's the song, 123. You notice has a B flat in the key signature, and it's using that low B flat jumping up to high F with some extra notes. You're learning on just these 2 pages alone 5 brand new notes that you've never learned. In this whole section for the red belt, you're learning, I think, 7 brand new notes. You're almost doubling the notes that you know. It often will take students a long time, even sometimes a month or more, to get through these pages. It's okay. If you just practice every day on getting those high notes out, they eventually will come. Again, light down a little harder, blow more air, making sure you're covering up those holes out of the way will get you there. Some people find it really easy. Some people find it really difficult. That's okay, whichever you are, but if you find it difficult, work hard, you will get it. Let's get going. 126, Grenadilla Gorilla Jump number 4, high F sharp. Notice it's the same as B natural. B, C, D, E, F. F sharp in this case, okay? So middle finger here. Here's 126. Is going to be using both Fs. Notice your key signature is B flat. There are no Bs in this song, but just so you know. And then it starts off with F sharp. So it goes middle finger F sharp, E, D, E, F sharp, D, E, F sharp, D. Then it goes F natural, E, F natural, E, D, F natural, E, F natural, E, D. So really focus on using the right F at the right time. Sharp, middle. Sharp and, or you can think of your second finger, okay? Because your first finger and second finger here. Sharp, second, okay? Here is 127. A little squeaky, but we're going to keep going. A 128 is a high C. This is your low F with the octave key, okay? All right, here's 128. 130 is called crossing over. And look at the orange box above. It says crossing the break. It says when alternating between high and low registers, you can keep your right hand fingers down on your G, A, and for G, A, and B flat. Okay, so what that means is your low register is when you're not using this, okay? So anything when not thumb, this is your low register, okay? Your upper register is when you start using the register key, octave key / Squidward's nose. That is your high register. Sometimes you're going to need to go like from a high C down to a G. So you're going from pretty much all your fingers down to no fingers. The cool thing is that on that high C, nothing you do right here affects this. So watch this. If I play a G. So if you need to jump from a C to a G, you can move all your fingers like this and it'll sound squeaky. Or you can lay this hand down. Okay, the same with the A. And B flat. Okay, so that's just a great technique to be very helpful. 130 is crossing over. It's your first chance going from the lower register to the right upper register. Notice that last note is an F, and that will affect it. Okay, so it's just G, A, and B flat. You can do whatever you want with your lower hand. Turn the page with me, please. We're going on page 6 of our Essential Elements book. 132 is our first red belt song. After you've mastered some of these high notes, you can start using them in a song setting. So 132 is Michael Rowed the Boat Ashore. Notice 4/4 time. Notice B flat in the key signature for pinchy B, or first finger B if you have a low one. Notice that your tempo is andante, which is a slow walking tempo. And then notice that you have another repeat sign there. So we have F, A, and then you have the another repeat sign. So basically what you're going to do in this case is you go beginning to the repeat sign on the second line under that first ending. Remember the first and second endings we had before? So beginning through the first ending. Then, instead of going back to the very beginning of the song, you're going to go back to where that other repeat sign is. So let's go through the notes. F, A, C, A, C, D, C, A, C, D, C, A, C, C, A, B flat, A, G, F, G, A, G, F, F, A, C. There's your jump. Okay? Here we go. Notice there's a little dotted line underneath the first line that says right hand down. So you can leave this hand down because you're jumping to that high C. You can just leave those fingers down. Okay, another fun one to do is the Austrian Waltz, 133. I also like 135 because you're having a good practice going down and back up, just the high notes in this one. Remember, first finger F is F natural in this one. Above 135 in the orange box, you notice that it has a new time signature, and it says C. It stands for common time. The most common time signature you're going to see is 4/4, 4 beats in the measure. So your composer could write it as 4/4, or they could write it as C, common time. Okay? Good. 138, here's another new note. High G. That's going from your C, add the octave key number, C, D, E, F, G, to find that note. Again, is just a lot of notes, so I like to have kids do this one just for more practice. You start, it's basically the same, it's a very similar pattern when you start, except the first part is using the low register, the last half is using the upper register. Again, notice your key signature is B flat, so first finger Bs, or pinchy Bs. Also C for common time, 4 beats in every measure. is another new note, and that is low E. Okay, so you learned low F, right? So it's the same as low F, but now you're going to take your left pinky and you're going to put it on this key. It's the one that's closest to the inside of the clarinet. Okay, so not this one, not this one, not this one, this one, the one that's kind of farthest away from your pinky, hardest to reach. That's your low E. Here's 143. .144 is some good practice using that low E. .145 is what I would consider to be one of the hardest notes on the clarinet. It's the same thing as your E, but now you have to add your octave key too. So everything is really stretched to the max here. All right, here's 145, going from the low E to the high B. E, F, G, A, B. .146 is basically the same thing, except the first half you're in the low register, and then the second half you're playing with the octave key. Ooh, let me try that again. Turn the page with me. A lot of stuff in this section. Let's go on to 147, the B-flat concert scale. In the box above, it talks about a scale being a series of notes. It's like a musical ladder. So basically what a scale is you go up one of every note name. So in this case, we're doing the B-flat concert scale, but we're starting on C. So we go C, D, E, F, G, A, high B natural, high C. Okay? Yeah, let's just play it. Here we go. Here we go. I think from my experience when I was a kid, what I found the hardest thing about this scale was that it's called the B-flat concert scale, but there's no B-flat in here. It's a high B natural. Now the reason for that is that a clarinet is like a trumpet in that we're a B-flat instrument. So what that means is that when you play a C on your instrument, or a trumpet plays a C, it sounds great. It's the same note. But if you play a C and a flute plays a C, it sounds yucky because they're going to be different. So flute, violin, trombone, baritone, tuba, those are all C instruments where a C is a C. For you, a C would sound like a B flat for those instruments. Don't need to know too much about it, but that's where we get the idea of the B flat concert scale, meaning that we use the scale name for, if you're in a whole band setting of 10 different instruments, the director's going to say B-flat concert scale, and then everybody knows what scale to play. You play a C scale. The flutes and trombones, baritones, tubas, they're going to play a B-flat scale, and saxophones are going to play a G scale because they're an E-flat instrument, so everything is off even further for them. When you play a C, a saxophone needs to play a G to match your pitch. Okay, enough about that. Underneath 147 talks about chords and arpeggios. A chord is when you play two or more notes together. You can't do that by yourself. You can do it with your friend, but you really can't do it by yourself. An arpeggio is when you it's a chord that's broken and the notes are played individually. Okay, so looking at 148, you see a chord. You have notes C, E, and G. They sound really great together. And then the next measure, you see an arpeggio, the C, E, G, as separate notes that you could play. So an arpeggio usually is skipping notes. You know, see how it's C, you skip D and go to E, you skip F, go to G. So that's how an arpeggio usually works. 149 we can play. You can see the scale going stepwise, and then the arpeggio doing little jumps. Is theme from Surprise Symphony. Notice that you have common time, so that's 4/4. You notice that it's andante, so it's fairly slow, and your key signature has a B flat. Alrighty. So Papa Haydn, Franz Joseph Haydn, we call him Papa Haydn because everyone loved him. He was a bit of a jokester. People used to fall asleep during his concerts. Classical music, it's very pretty to listen to, and you often may fall asleep. Well, he decided to have a little fun. He decided to have everyone play nice and quiet and slow. Notice the piano at the beginning of the song. And then partway through the song, he went to a big forte and everyone bop to wake up the audience. And then they went back to piano, and then he enjoyed seeing how many people jumped in their seats during the performance. A couple things to note. Look at the second to last measure of the first line. Okay, so 2 from the end. You have high F natural. Then you have 2 B naturals. Your key signature is B flat, but for those 2 notes, they want B natural. All the rest of your B's in here are B flat. So that's red belt. That should keep you going for a while. That was 8 new notes. We talked about a scale, an arpeggio. You got high notes for the first time, plus 2 red belt songs. Lots of stuff in this part. Probably the hardest part of the book. But keep working on it, keep practicing every day, and you will get it. The next module will talk about the brown belt. You're almost to the end of the book. Congratulations.